Back.
Good afternoon, Nisi Imano, and also good afternoon to our viewers who are watching us. Indeed, we are coming to you live from the Safari Park, where we have been here for the better part of the morning, and this is what has culminated into a very auspicious occasion, the 150-page book. You might wonder what exactly is this. This is the Administration of Justice in Kenya annual report for the year 2020-2023. The occasion has been graced by the head of state, President William Ruto, and also the Chief Justice Martha Koome, among other host of guests, including the Attorney General Justin Bidan Muturi. The 150 book, actually, the book itself talks about all the successes and challenges that the judiciary has faced in administration of justice for the past 1 year, including the courts. And if you can peruse over, you see even Kigumo law courts, Kangema law courts, Kandara, just to show you how comprehensive this book has been. Well, away from the book, the head of state has talked about a number of issues touching on the administration of justice, touching on the judiciary, and also touching on the national scene and also the political scene. Well, the head of state, William Ruto, has talked about 7 key issues that the government will be assisting the judiciary in its administration of justice. And by the way, this is the first one. It's an inaugural function by the National Council on Administration of Justice, and it was established 10 years ago, but this is the first time that the judiciary and the NCAJ, who the chair happens to be the Chief Justice Martha Koome, has talked about a number of issues. 10 years, but this is the first one, and it will be each and every year, just to underscore the judiciary and the government commitment to ensure that all Kenyans get justice. A number of, as I had alluded to earlier, is that a number of issues had been discussed, including not related to the judiciary. But one of the issues the head of state has pointed out is the cases of sexual and gender-based violence. They want to do away with this, and more specifically on the children, talking about early marriages, the female genital mutilation, early pregnancies, and a host of challenges which kids are facing, which will be addressed. And the head of state has said, yes, indeed, I have been to a number of functions by the judiciary, and a lot of people are discussing and talking about the executive and the judiciary having an informal relationship. But he has said that each and everything that he is doing, or the executive is doing, and the partnership that they have with the judiciary, it's all a matter of how Kenyans will access justice. He said he's never called anyone in the judiciary just to talk about anything that he or the executive want. Well, the Chief Justice has said that this will be an annual event, and also has underscored that there will be the expansion of the small claims court, and also the judiciary together with the government have talked about digitization of about 5,000 government duties or even services, which will also be documented each and every year, just to get to the mwananchi. Indeed, there's a lot but we will be coming in our subsequent bulletin with a lot that is or has transpired in this auspicious occasion. But for now, I'm Ben Troy from the Safari Park Hotel here in Nairobi. Back to you in studio.
Is our reporter Ben Troy Njue, who has been giving us an update from the Safari Park Hotel, where the Administration of Justice in Kenya has held its annual, was launching its annual report earlier this morning. And of course, that is also a report that will get conclusively in our subsequent bulletins. For now, we head over to Windsor Hotel. Also, our reporter, John Jacob Kuria, is on standby to give us an update of the Kwanza MP's retreat that is currently ongoing. Kuria, if you can hear me, over to you.
Thank you very much, Nisi Imano. We're live from the Windsor Hotel in Nairobi. This is a retreat for the Kenya Kwanza members of the National Assembly, of course, as they discuss the legislative agenda of the Kenya Kwanza government. About 30 minutes ago, the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua left this venue. He was addressing the members of parliament gathered here regarding several issues that we'll be discussing right now. And later today, at around 4 p.m., we expect the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, to also make his way here and, discuss these things, the members of parliament. But I'm also joined by the KPP member of parliament, Wanjiku Moher, to largely discuss what has been in the agenda for the larger part of this morning. Mheshimiwa, karibu sana. What was in your plate of discussion this morning?
Thank you very much, and I want to say good afternoon to our viewers. We are here as members of Kenya Kwanza caucus, or a parliamentary group. First, we are very grateful to have seen this one of its kind, and I think this is the way the government should be run, because we have closed our session on Thursday, so it's upon our government and the members to evaluate where we have come from, what we have done for that first session of parliament, and where we shall intend to go. Where are we? This is all the discussion. I can say the basket is full, because as you know, the government has started implementing its manifesto. We have a hustler fund, which the government wants us as representative of the people to speak it with clear mind, with the clear intention of this fund to the wananchi, because you have heard yourself some people saying that you should take this money and not pay back. So as people who represent the people of Kenya, this is one of the issues that we are discussing. We have the CBC, and 86% of collected views from the whole country indicated that our standard 6 children are too young to join the high school, far away from home. So the government has indicated that it has complied with the public participation, and this CBC junior secondary will not be going to high school. They will be remaining in their current primary school. So as members of parliament, we are discussing how to construct classrooms, and these classrooms must be made as quickly as possible. So I can say the basket is full. We have discussed quite a number of issues. We also have our own issues. I personally have issues of the roads. You have been seeing me follow Anjoy-Geta Road. So we want to know why the contractors are not on site. So we are happy as members, because now the Deputy President is able to respond this question to me, and I can try to give a solution of what should happen by maybe maintaining the road on temporary basis as we proceed and explain to our people. So the plate is full. We continue in the afternoon, and I think this is one of the very best method of running the government. It happens in US, it happens in Europe, where the president or the prime minister run to the parliament, discuss with the members, so that you have a clear agenda without doubt, and for avoidance of doubt, you can explain to the citizen what you want to do.
All right, I'm sure we'll link up again at around 4 p.m. once the president is here, again to listen to the agenda that will be executed also by the president. But thank you very much. Wanjiku Moher, the member of parliament for Kipipiri. Let me also bring in the chairperson of the ICT committee and member for Dagoretti South, Mheshimiwa, karibu sana.
And ICT is one of the smallest components in communication. The committee is communication, information, and innovation.
Absolutely.
And ICT happens to be one of the subsectors. And congratulations. A big congratulations to the national broadcaster. We can see how much effort you're putting. It is a concern, not only for government, not only for parliament, but also for Kenyans, that the national broadcaster will rise again, that the giant is going to awaken. Thank you very much for having us.
The agenda of this meeting today is obviously a departure, because we have had a conversation such as this again, is a departure from what you've seen before, the executive really engaging robustly the legislature in terms of executing the legislative agenda.
This is amazing. And remember, I am a second-term MP, and I had opportunity to serve in the last parliament. And we are seeing a great shift from what we had known in the previous administration, comparing it to today. In the last administration, the meetings were few and far in between. And when they happened, they were not well-humored. They were actually very, very for lack of a better word, very untidy meetings. But we are happy this time that there is no dichotomy between the presidency and the members of parliament who are tasked with the role of legislating for the big agenda that Kenya Kwanza has. So as you see today, we are here aligning programs, aligning plans, aligning strategies so that each and everything that we mentioned to Kenyans, which we promised. Remember, Kenya Kwanza did more than 4 circuits around the country. And in these circuits, we were able to get together with Kenyans in what were called economic forums. And in these economic forums, we were able to come up with county charters. We were also able to come with sector charters. And out of these charters, we have been able to develop what was a manifesto that has now morphed into the Kenya Kwanza plan. The Kenya Kwanza manifesto has now graduated into the Kenya Kwanza plan. To execute the plan, we will need policy. Policy is domiciled at executive, but we shall also need legislation. Legislation is domiciled in parliament. So we are here just aligning the plans so that we can execute.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Let me bring in the Member of Parliament for Manyata constituency, Gitonga Mukonji. You hosted the president yesterday. Very quickly, the agenda of this meeting, and those who probably say that such kind of meetings invade on the independence of the legislature as is espoused by the Constitution.
Thank you very much. Again, my name is Gitonga Mukonji, Member of Parliament Manyata constituency. These forums, especially on the MPs of the government side, are very important because at the end of the day, we have had a previous government that was not engaging the legislature in whatever they are doing. So we have had a policy gap.
All right, that is John Jacob Kuria, who's giving us an update from the Windsor Golf Hotel in Nairobi, where the Kenya Kwanza MPs have come together today, this morning, and the retreat continues all the way to 4 p.m. The President, William Samoei Ruto, is also expected to grace this particular occasion, and we will be getting a full report a little bit later in the day. But for now, we do have to take a break. We will be back in just a bit. Don't go too far.
Make transactions anywhere in the world with the NCBA Visa card and stand a chance to win big. Join the FIFA World Cup 2022 when you win an all-expenses-paid trip for you and your +1 to watch 2 games. Or win exciting weekly prizes that will make your FIFA viewing experience super duper. All it takes is a swipe or a tap to pay 2,000 Kenya shillings or more with your NCBA Visa debit or credit card. The more you swipe or tap to pay, the higher your chances of winning with 1 point for every 2,000 Kenya shillings spent. Don't miss out. NCBA. Go for it.
On the left side, he's got Mbappe for company, close to Mbappe, and then carves it again, and this would be the nail in the coffin on the Polish side as Kylian Mbappe scores again. We're playing added time. It's the 91st minute. It's Thuram with the assist to Mbappe, and he just looks at where the goalkeeper is. Another clinical finish that helps Le Bleu to lead this one. 3-0, and only playing for added time. Will be a very difficult task for the Polish side to come back into this game. They'll have to score 3 goals in the few added minutes that there are, and that might not...
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now moving on, Kakamega Governor Fernandes Barasa, who doubles up as the chairperson, Finance and Economic Affairs Committee, has asked the National Treasury to speed up the release of funds to county governments to enhance smooth operation of services at the county level. Barasa added that the late disbursement of funds is derailing development. Barasa also commended the President's directive on CBC.
As we speak right now, counties have only received up to September disbursements, and as you're all aware, we are now doing December. So there's an average delay of around 2 months, and you can be sure if governors don't have alternative sources of funding, especially the OSR, this is crippling our operations. I want to commend the President. It's about the stand he's taken on the CBC for domiciling this program in primary schools. We know that we still have some teething problems, and I think the national conversation that should be continuous is how effective this program is implemented.
And moving on, the Eastern Region Commissioner, Evans Achoki, has warned students undertaking the Kenya National Secondary Schools examination and their parents against attempting any form of exam malpractice. Achoki says stringent measures have been put in place to ensure the integrity of the exam is not compromised. Speaking during the opening of and distribution of exams in Mwingi Sub-County at St. Augustine Mwingi Boys Secondary School early this morning, Mr. Achoki said that so far, not a single case of exam irregularity had been reported in the Eastern region.
So far, we do not have any incident that has been reported, and we hope that we shall finalize this exercise incident-free. The purpose of our visit is, as I've said, to oversee the administration of the exams and to encourage the officers to continue selflessly ensuring that the examinations are administered smoothly. These exams is delivered by various stakeholders, government stakeholders, and we are all here to ensure that the exams is credible and that the results reflect the learners' abilities and that there is integrity in the whole process. And therefore, I would like to urge parents not to waste any money to buy examinations before the examination, because there is no leakage in this examination.
Kipkelion East Member of National Assembly Joseph Cherorot has said all the public schools in the constituency will be modernized to help improve the learning environment of pupils in the constituency. Speaking at Kaptaragon Primary School after officially opening classrooms, Cherorot said his administration will prioritize education in the constituency, noting that the children was key. Investing in children was key in ensuring the future of the constituency is secured.
Tuhakikishe kwamba kwa masomo tumepatia kipaumbele kuhakikisha hawa watoto katika mashule wamepata masomo ya kutosha, na ingine ni kupata conducive environment. Hatuwe kwa tukijenga tu darasa hivi, tutajenga na kuweka tiles.
And on to matters politics now, where Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition leader Raila Odinga wants political leaders in Kilifi and Mombasa counties to work with the national government and enhance infrastructure in the region. Raila, who spoke during a homecoming ceremony for Kilifi Governor Gideon Mung'aro, said the national government must ensure timely disbursement of funds to counties.
Political leaders in Kilifi and Mombasa counties have been urged to overlook their differences and work with the national government to effectively serve the people. While in Kilifi, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance leader Raila Odinga said elected leaders should work with the national government to make good use of the revenues collected at the national level.
Mfano hii barabara kutoka Lungalunga kupitia Mombasa mpaka kule Kiunga. Mimi kama waziri wa barabara na ujenzi niliweka kwenye mpango. Serikali ya Uhuru ikaja ikafanya mchoro na ikaweka kandarasi inaanza kufanya kazi. Sasa imekuja kuzaa kwa serikali hii ya Bwana Ruto na wenzake. Wako na jukumu wapende wasipende kuhakikisha kwamba hii barabara imejengwa mpaka imefika kule Kirunga. Sio?
Raila further urged the leaders of the coastal Kenya to unite and foster regional prosperity.
Serikali ya kitaifa imepewa jukumu ya kurogota ushuru kila mahali, alafu kaweka kwenye hazina, na kule katika hazina iko taratibu imewekwa vile hiyo pesa itagawanywa.
Raila made the remarks during a homecoming ceremony for Kilifi Governor Gideon Mung'aro. The leaders, allied to both the opposition and the government at the ceremony, vowed to work together and support the county's leadership agenda.
Hawa vijana wanataka viwanda vienee hapa ndani ya Kilifi. Hayo mamlaka ya kufanya hiyo kazi tumekupatia wewe.
Tunajua serikali hapa Kilifi ni ya chama cha ODM kwa sababu gavana ni ODM. Lakini sisi tumesema tunataka tumpatie nafasi Mung'aro afanye kazi katika Kilifi County.
Imebaki tumsupport ili afanye nini? Aweze kudeliver manifesto yake kwa watu wa Kilifi.
Meanwhile, a section of political leaders in Machakos and Kisii counties have told off the opposition leader over planned demonstrations.
I've participated in all demonstrations that were called by the Right Honourable Prime Minister. But on this one, I think it's premature, it's unnecessary for the ODM leader to call for demonstrations in this country.
The leaders said it is time to hit the ground running and work towards economic recovery.
Let the rule of law reign in this country. Maandamano tutafanya wakati wa siasa 2027.
Irene Mchuma Udim, the Lunchtime News.
We cross over to Samburu County, where the CEC for Gender and Social Services, Josephine Lentano, has urged parents with children living with disability not to isolate them. Lentano is encouraging parents to instead take them to the county's social department for assistance. Samburu County has pledged to partner with different stakeholders to ensure that the interest of people living with disabilities are catered for.
Hii culture ya Samburu watu bado wanaficha watoto walemavu. Kwa hivyo ninawahamasisha kwa leo kwamba watoto walemavu sio shida kubwa. Pia ni baraka kwa Mungu na wanaweza fanya kulingana na uwezo yao.
Naomba tu ukitoa hata komiti vile weka walemavu, kwa sababu iko aina yote, iko wamama, iko wase, iko vijana pia. Naomba gavana kitu kama hii.
Assembly tulibitisha bill yetu ya Libita 2017 na iko dosari kidogo. Tunataka kulete amendment kwa sababu mambo mingi ijakafa vile natakana, na tunataka kulete amendment kidogo.
We collaborate with the national government and other stakeholders to make sure at least our people living with disability are catered for. That includes employment, business, and also tendering.
Meanwhile, matatu owners are calling on the government to transfer the issuance of driving licenses from National Transport and Safety Authority to the National Youth Service. Matatu Owners Association chairperson Simon Kimutai alleges that NTSA has failed the safety test because rogue drivers are still being issued with driving licenses.
The issue of issuing PSV license to drivers on the strength of the age of the license. 4 years, you're told, if you have a 4-year-old license, you're eligible to get a license. And you do get it without testing, being tested, whether you are able to drive. And this now causes problems to us as investors in public transport. This person will come and land from my vehicle, and yet I'm blamed when an accident occurs. We should blame the people who issue them licenses, because they should be held liable for licensing a person who is not qualified.
It is in our observation that all vehicles that cause crashes and the fatalities, they are always overspeeding. You may say they were not speeding, but that's a fact. We have gone to all accident scenes in the country. None of them we never visited. Please would like our government to be very, very serious with that. the speed governor, we joined hands with them as road safety, and we agreed with them that they give free clinic during this season, and that is where we have the free recall sticker. Please make sure that your vehicle is checked. You should not be charged even 1 shilling. Take your vehicle, it's properly checked. If you are charged, please make sure you call us, not even a shilling during this festive season.
Moving on, hundreds of Tana Delta South residents have benefited from a free medical camp organized by Kenya Ports Authority in partnership with Tana River County Public Health Department. The medical camp, which was held at Arap Moi Primary School over the weekend, saw more than 1,200 patients from Gao and Tarasa benefit from free consultants, diagnosis, free medicine and treatment.
In their numbers, they flocked to the Arap Moi Primary School to seek medical attention. The services offered included screening for cervical and prostate cancer and treated for various diseases. Speaking during the one-day medical exercise, Kenya Ports Authority Medical Service Manager Dr. Lenga Gome said that most of the patients treated were ailing from non-communicable diseases, among them high blood pressure and diabetes, cancer and respiratory infections.
Out of the stuff that we've seen today, diseases is upper respiratory tract infections, tonsillitis, rhinitis, pharyngitis that we've taken care of. We've seen a few people who have had chronic illnesses. Some of the people, because of the triage system, we are telling them today that they are most probably hypertensive, that they need to be on care. They had no idea, which is good.
He said the authority provided drugs and other medical supplies worth 1.7 million shillings for the one-day free medical camp. The Kenya Ports Authority Head of Corporate Communication, Bernard Osero, who also doubles as the chairman of the Corporate Social Investment Committee, disclosed that the authority undertakes 2 medical camps every financial year, which is impactful to the beneficiaries.
The recipients, the beneficiaries have said we are doing a commendable job, given that most of the diseases we are addressing here are very common ailments, but because of the poverty levels of the communities and also the scarcity of the medical facilities where people have to walk long distances. Like where we are today, I'm told there are people who have walked 20 kilometers to arrive here. Then you can as well imagine the need for medical attention in such communities.
The residents lauded the free medical camp, noting the area faces challenges of high poverty levels and poor terrain that makes access to medical facilities difficult.
Kulikuwa na ukame sana, shida, hata watu wengine wanazimia, matibabu hakuna, watu wana shida ya kifedha, na kwa vile Kenya Ports Authority waliona kwa tuletea msaada, tunasema ni asante na tunashukuru na tunazidi kuomba kwamba muzidi kutukumbuka kila wakati.
Watu wengi ni wagonjwa na wako mbalimbali. Wako mbali sana kuwapata. Na kutembea na mguu kuja hospitali ni vigumu, na hasa wakati wa mvua. Ni shida sana. Na hata hizo magari kufika, wengine wanakaa ng'ambo ya pili ya mto. Sasa kutumia bridge, gari haivuki, unatembea mguu. Na kutembea na mguu mpaka huko ni kama maili 6 maili 7. Ndio pata.
Hapa nimekuja nipate matibabu ya bure. Maana yake finance imekuwa problem.
For Lunchtime News from Tana River County, I am Ann Mburu.
Moving on, members of the Fourth Estate have called on the national government to intervene and bail out some media houses going through restructuring to cope with the turbulent economic times. The internal review processes have seen a number of journalists declared redundant, leaving them without a source of income.
Music filled the air as journalists put aside their tools of trade and gathered for a meet and greet session during the annual Scribes End of Year party. The event also gave journalists a chance to reflect on the achievements made by the industry in the last 1 year. Despite the gains, uncertainty continues to surround the media industry as media houses announce moves to downsize their workforce to survive the tough economic times.
So tunatoa mwito kwa serikali na Rais William Ruto alisema kwamba yeye ni rais wa wanyonge. Huu ndio wakati wa kuonyesha kwamba anatekeleza hilo. Tunataka aingilie kati kuhakikisha kwamba watu hawapotezi ajira.
A clarion call was also given urging journalists to embrace digital innovation that is increasingly changing the way news is delivered to the public.
How can we survive this digital disruption through the trainings, through diversification in terms of developing a niche, whether it's environmental journalism, whether it's tech journalism, is it investigative journalism?
Jukumu letu sasa hivi tujitahidi kwamba tuwe tunaweza kuzieleza habari hizo ambazo mtu ameziona, lakini ziwe na faida kwake na awe atazifuatilia kuliko zile ambazo amezisikia kwa watu.
Journalists have been challenged to be at the forefront in providing news that is factual and human interest-based to help solve the various challenges in the society. The event, sponsored by the Media Council of Kenya and other partners, also featured an award ceremony where journalists who excelled in the various spheres of expertise in 2022 were awarded. Joan Mwaneki for Lunchtime News.
All right, let's take a look at the day's business, where plans are underway to build a regional governance training institute geared towards promoting good governance and act as a catalyst to better service delivery. This was revealed during the annual Champions of Governance Awards that saw CIC Insurance Group Limited emerge the overall winner.
In a bid to promote better service delivery and transparency, private and public institutions led by the Institute of Certified Secretaries of Kenya have embarked on creating a regional governance training institute.
The institute also has invested in undertaking a lot of research. We publish peer-reviewed governance journals that give a lot of information on governance practices, evolving developments in the governance space, as well as new areas that need to be explored.
The institute is expected to champion innovations in organizations that promote good governance.
Of our youth do not understand about governance, and so I call upon the institute to think about how to introduce the concept of good governance practices to our young people who are leaving universities, so that they join hands with us early enough.
She was speaking during the annual Champions of Governance Awards, where CIC Insurance Group Limited emerged the overall winner.
A lot of compliance that goes on. Today, the biggest one, I think, is the labor market. When you're looking at a lot of these cases that are coming out from the labor courts, you know, you put somebody on contract, they're on contract for how long, they're permanent. I mean, there's just so much coming out, be it tax compliance, be it employment compliance.
KenGen Staff Retirement Benefit Scheme was the first runners-up, while Safaricom Sacco Society Limited was the second runners-up. The Champions of Governance Awards was inaugurated in 2010 with an aim of awarding organizations and individuals that exhibit the highest standards of good governance. Frederick Mwoki for Lunchtime News.
All right, we're headed now to Nyayo House, where the PS Ministry of Interior Ambassador Julius Bitok is now currently taking over from PS Kibicho. Let's take a look.
We must stick to the law, and that is our guiding principle going forward. My main focus will be on three areas. First is transforming immigration. I think immigration makes or breaks countries. If you look at countries which have moved, which have grown, which have developed, is they got their immigration right. My preliminary thinking is that we can transform immigration into a service, as I said before. I say that because if you look at NIS, for example, when it used to be the police as special branch, there were terrible things happening. Nyayo House is known for some of those things. The other house there called what? Nyat is known for those things. But when it was transformed into a service, then there was a lot of efficiency, there was a lot of focus and service delivery, and the service is really very doing so well. So I think my preliminary thinking is, why do we make immigration, which is also a security sector, a service that can be more responsive to the needs of Kenyans? The second area, which is also very critical, is digitization of government services. As you are aware, we are coordinating e-citizen services. Right now, we have about 300 services which are digitized, or rather which are online. Kenyans can access about 300 services which are online. And because we have this coordination of e-citizen in this State Department, I promise that we are going to digitize as many as possible. Our target is 5,000 services to begin with. We need to digitize at least 5,000 services. And it is possible. If we make it people-driven, we remove the bottlenecks, then we are able to achieve that. The other third very important issue I'll be focusing on is on this Huduma number. We need to get back to it and see where did we get it wrong. Why was it there a lot of negative publicity about it? I'm thinking that we need to rebrand it probably into a smart ID that is more acceptable to the people. We need to find out what were some of the challenges, because this smart ID.
All right, those are live pictures from the Nyayo House, where Ambassador Julius B. Tok has just taken over from PS Kibicho, and he has mentioned something that was mentioned even earlier, digitization of government services, saying there are 300 and the mark is 5,000. Okay, moving on now. 32 youth groups across the coast region have received funding under the e-COVID-19 response program for youth innovators to actualize their business ideas. The program, that is funded by the European Union and the Aga Khan Foundation, aims at reducing unemployment and to promote sustainable businesses among the youth.
Among the beneficiaries is Kezia Olo, who recalls coming across the application on a WhatsApp group. She enrolled her customized kitchen gardens program that engages a group of young mothers to utilize limited space for food production.
My idea here is about commercializing kitchen gardens. So I'm one of the beneficiaries of the program by Aga Khan Foundation, which is we have been taken through human-centered design and how we can create innovative ideas in order to sustain our lives, or also even empower the community as a whole. So my idea is about how I can use kitchen gardens, but now as first to sort out the food security issues.
Jembe Hussein applied for the fund under his sole proprietor idea of Ukulima Hub app that offers extension services online.
It's a holistic mobile-based application ambayo iko na 3 categories, an e-commerce center whereby mkulima anaweza kauza na kanunua na kalipwa, na iko na center ya pili ambayo mkulima anaweza kapata elimu ama mafunzo kuhusiana na kilimo anachofanya, na center ya tatu ni ile center ambayo mkulima anaweza kutumia hii application kumsaidia kujua magonjwa yanayoathiri mmea wake kupitia kamera yake, kuscan ule mmea alafu atapata information.
This year, the program targeted 32 young people drawn from the counties of Kilifi, Lamu, Malindi, Mombasa and Kwale. There are plans to increase the targeted groups to 45 and include Taita Taveta and Tana River counties next year.
European Union has given us funding to support youth in Coast Region, 4 counties in Coast Region, and also other counties, to make sure that the scourge of COVID that has affected us economically, it has affected us socially, we try to address, especially those challenges that are related to youth or have affected youth.
Moving on, e-commerce platforms are taking credit-based and free delivery systems in response to existing market behaviors as an entry strategy into the digital business space. Kapu founder and CEO Sam Chapate says ensuring efficient and short supply chains for businesses business cuts on unnecessary costs for food items, which makes up for 46% of expenditure of the average Kenyan household.
The rate of inflation is currently at a 5-year high of 9.5%, owing to high food and fuel prices. The ripple effect of this has seen Kenyans changing their consumption behavior in a bid to effectively manage their income. This has seen former Jumia executives regroup to form a new e-commerce platform known as Kapu that promises customers lower grocery and food prices through shorter supply chains, efficient delivery systems, and creating better business-to-customer linkages.
The model is designed to be really low cost. So the way that we organize ourselves is all about cutting out costs from distribution. We have no secondary packaging. So we don't deliver to people in bags and boxes because that adds cost. And our model is designed to be the lowest cost model possible.
When the price of unga is going up by 2 shillings every day, is a real problem in your life. What does it mean? It means your proportion of income you're spending on day-to-day food and groceries is going up. Therefore, you are not left with any shillings to take your kids to school.
He says with the application of digital solutions, Kenyans can reduce the use of disposable income on their foodstuff to channel to other uses.
Say your net is X, is 100 bob, how much of the 100 shillings are you spending on food?
The question is more generally, why is the cost of the grocery basket so high? Part of the reason is production costs. So, the cost of raw materials going into the supply chain is one of the drivers of that, for sure.
In addition, they say using existing community relations between Kenyans and their local service providers such as Mama Mbogas would ensure e-commerce platforms can use a credit-based policy, allowing for local arrangements for payments.
Our model leans on and works very closely with agents in each community. So we are already in every community. We already have relationships, trusted relationships. And what we are doing is we are plugging in a supply chain and a distribution model into those existing relationships.
He says with organized logistics, e-commerce platforms could completely do away with delivery charges, which accounts for a large cost of digital transactions. Hibak Said for Lunchtime News.
Across borders now, where Ghana will launch a domestic debt exchange in a move that intends to help restore microeconomic stability and end the West African country's worst economic crisis in a generation. The Ghanaian government is in talks with the International Monetary Fund for a support program to relieve its debt distress. Here are the details for this and other stories making headlines across the continent.
Under the domestic debt exchange in Ghana, local bonds will be exchanged for new ones maturing in the year 2027, 2029, 2032 and 2037, and their annual coupon will be set at 0% in 2023, 5% in 2024, and 10% from 2025 until maturity. The local cedi currency has plummeted more than 50% against the dollar this year, while Ghana's central bank hiked its main lending rates to 27% last Monday after inflation hit a 21-year peak in October. The domestic debt swap offer by Ghana aims to ease a crunch in payments as the government negotiates an IMF bailout during its worst economic crisis in decades. The West African state is in talks for up to $3 billion in credit from the IMF to help shore up its public finances. Elsewhere, Rwanda is set to benefit from a liberalized air transport market dubbed the Single Africa Air Transport Market, an initiative aimed at creating a single unified air transport market in Africa. The plan could eventually generate $4.2 billion in additional gross domestic product, 600,000 new jobs, a 27% reduction in fares, and make a contribution to United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Rwanda says participating in the pilot plan is an opportunity to pave the way for connectivity or other access to African airlines. Finally, Safe Boda, a ride and car company, has noted it will exit Nigeria to concentrate on the Ugandan market, which it says is more profitable and generates significant cash flow. Uganda is a huge market with more than 1.5 million rides happening every day in Kampala alone. Safe Boda recently secured funding from the Yamaha Motor Company to focus on enhancing its core transportation offer in Uganda after exiting from Nigeria.
Now, one of the biggest threats to our future food security is land degradation. and the associated loss in soil productivity. Soil degradation has been sped up by human activities, leading to poor food production, as Pauline Nasimiu reports.
The dirt beneath our feet often goes unnoticed, but it is key to sustaining all life on the earth.
So like this one, plants don't.
But when the soil degrades over time, its quality declines and diminishes its capacity to sustain life. Compared to a decade now, the country has experienced a loss of soil productivity due to how we have managed it.
You can tell that from the crops that are growing on it. 10 years ago, it probably was healthier than now, because many farmers in Kenya are not putting anything in their soil to when they are growing their crops. They are just depending on what is weathered from the soil minerals to sustain their crops, and it's not enough because they are cropping all the time.
Many farmers have adopted the use of fertilizers, which is beneficial for crop growth, but where they go wrong is by adapting to unbalanced fertilization.
We should use fertilizers together with organics, like I've already said. Farmers that are not doing so are wondering why they keep on applying fertilizers higher and higher rates, and they are not getting the kind of yield they expect. It's because they are not supplementing the other 13 or the other many other nutrients that are not contained in the fertilizer in their crop residues.
Failure to do soil tests by farmers has made plants growing in it to suffer from nutrient deficiencies or toxicities.
They are not testing their soils enough. We recommend that soils should be tested every 3 to 5 years. It just costs 1,000 shillings in terms of soil testing one sample. It's an expensive thing, but it's very accurate. And it's a worthy investment for yourself. You will be glad that you spent 1,000 shillings to get many, many more 1,000 shillings out of your farm. If you find that your crop is not doing well and you have fertilized, please go for a soil test. They will tell you what you need.
Consuming indigenous food is better than GMOs because it is in its natural state. However, GMOs can be helpful in times of disaster, though with keen supervision, especially when buying from another country.
The GMO comes because of certain issues, maybe certain challenges you encounter as you are farming. Maybe you find a pest that is devastating acres and acres of land, and the government has to quickly think about what do we do about this. And of course, they have to think about it and breed something that will resist that pest. Maybe that is how the GMO will come in. But like I said, when you are buying GMO from another country, I think you need to know how it was grown before you buy it yourself. It may have other things there that you didn't expect. And that is where the problem is.
Essentially, life starts and ends in the soil. If a nation destroys its soil, its health status and lifespan is also destroyed. Pauline Nasimiu for Channel One News, Nairobi.
And in sports, Neymar Jr. will make his return as Brazil aims to qualify for the 8th consecutive quarterfinals berth when they face South Korea in today's last 16 match. In the other match, Japan will be aiming to reach the quarterfinals of a World Cup for the first time in their history when they take on Croatia. The match between Brazil and South Korea will be televised live on KBC Channel 1 at 10 p.m. World Cup, iko KBC.
Neymar could make his return to the World Cup stage on Monday as Brazil continue their bid to be crowned kings for a record extending 6th time against South Korea. Neymar has been absent for Brazil since spraining his ankle in his team's opening Group G win against Serbia last month. Meanwhile, Tottenham Hotspur forward Son Heung-min will lead South Korea in their aim to beat Brazil when the first time in a competitive match at Al Janoub Stadium. Japan will be aiming to beat Croatia for the first time when the two teams clash today. In other news, England coach Gareth Southgate has confirmed that Chelsea winger Raheem Sterling will return home from England's World Cup camp in Qatar after he's almost broken into by armed intruders. Remember to catch the match between Brazil and South Korea on KBC Channel 1 at 10 p.m. World Cup, Eco KBC.
That match at 10 p.m. tonight. Moving on, the countrywide crisscrossing by the KBC Channel 1 World Cup caravan heads to Busia after stops in Nakuru, Eldoret and Bungoma. En route to Bungoma, the caravan will make stops at Shianda, Ekero, Mumias and Bungoma. Other counties that the caravan is expected to tour include Homa Bay, Vihiga, Siaya and Kisumu.
The KBC and SportPesa World Cup caravan heads to Busia after spectacular viewing experiences in Nakuru, Eldoret and Kakamega. In Busia, football fans will have a chance to watch five-time champions Brazil battle it out with Korea. The public viewing will be held at Busia Taxi Park beginning at 10 p.m. The World Cup caravan, a partnership between gaming firm SportPesa and KBC Channel 1, affords chance football fans to catch the action of the ongoing 2022 World Cup in Qatar by hosting the viewing of the games in public.
All right, and that brings KBC Lunchtime News on the 5th of December to an end. We do appreciate your time, your interaction and your feedback on Facebook. I've seen a couple of people, Hesbon Omwoyo, Pastor Timothy Gashau, Layali Yasmin, Mpendo Matata is saying keep up the good work. Nyakwa Roda is saying Bondo is watching, and there's so much more feedback there. We really do appreciate that. Thank you for tuning in. I am Nisi Imano. Susan Thuku is our sign language interpreter. Good afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.
Make transactions anywhere in the world with the NCBA Visa card and stand a chance to win big. Join the FIFA World Cup 2022 when you win an all-expenses-paid trip for you and your +1 to watch 2 games. Or win exciting weekly prizes that will make your FIFA viewing experience super duper. All it takes is a swipe or a tap to pay 2,000 Kenya shillings or more with your NCBA Visa debit or credit card. The more you swipe or tap to pay, the higher your chances of winning with 1 point for every 2,000 Kenya shillings spent. Don't miss out. NCBA. Go for it.
Hayawi huwa kinyang'anyiro cha kombe la dunia nchini Qatar cha nanga Novemba 20 hadi Disemba 18, huku timu 32 zikiwania taji. KBC Channel 1 inakupa fursa ya kutizama mbashara kipute hicho kutoka Qatar nyumbani kwako. Runinga ya KBC Channel 1 inakukaribisha kwenye kipindi cha Dunda Qatar.
Na kumbuka kwamba baba, alama ya reli ni Dunda Qatar.
Na tunakuja nyumbani pale mtaani pale ambapo upo wewe mwenyewe.
Huku ukijishindia zawadi chungu nzima.
Hapa kumejaa vitu kocho.
Jongea. Shabiki kwenye Dunda Qatar.
Ukitazama unashinda.
KBC Channel 1, wenzio wa dhati michezoni.
ilayska ummadda.
Well, the tournament is looking for quarter-finalists, and France is up against Poland, the defending champions, of course having had a very good run into the round of 16 and now facing some steep opposition. Corner, and Griezmann is one who takes it. Varane heads it out of target. It will be the very first indication that Le Bleu really want a win in this one. They have, of course, a man in the name of Kylian Mbappe playing on the left side. Gets a good chance to get a run in, brings a cross. Dembele has it at the end on the other side, tries to sneak it back into the danger area, but it goes off target for a corner. Well, nothing came out of that one as well. And now the try from a distance after trying to come in from the sides. Then a long shot. Aurélien Tchouaméni is the man who goes for it, but the goalkeeper Szczesny was well aware of what the intentions were and quickly parried that out. Well, very long shot, very hard, very well on target as well. It's just that the goalkeeper was also very hawk-eyed at this one, parries the ball out and denies them a chance to go forward. The Polish side would then push back a little, although losing the ball very easily. Dembele then cuts back into the inside at this moment. Szczesny is the man who is stopping Dembele from getting onto the score sheet. And he does so by picking up that shot that didn't look like it had all the power in it, coming from Dembele. Poland trying to put back and still losing possession, picking it up again in front of goal. A long shot. This comes from Lewandowski. It goes out of target as well. It would be the first time in about 15 or so minutes that we've seen the Polish side coming in with a shot towards goal. A hard left foot shot, just carving off target. Le Bleu again regrouping and re-strategizing on how to come back in. Just running the ball outside the box and looking for where to go in through. This comes right to the center again. And another hard shot into the hands of the goalkeeper. And Koundé doesn't believe that this did not get the desired effects as well. But at least they are knocking, and they're knocking from outside. So Jules Koundé has his effort complemented again by Dembele, who was making some very good runs on the right side. And Dembele has brought in the necessary crosses. Olivier Giroud doesn't get the chance to level the all-time scoring record of Thierry Henry. Is missing just one goal, and this would have been the perfect one, but he misses it altogether. Well, he knows just the implications of that. We're playing the 33rd minute of the game, and again the Polish side is organizing itself. They get a ball on the outside right. An expensive, extravagant, if you'd call it, shot coming from Marty Cash. Wasn't on target at all. It comes in more as a cross, but with the vigor that it comes in with, couldn't have gotten the results that they wanted. Again, they are hardly having forgotten that Kylian Mbappe is out on the other side. He dances his way in for a left foot shot that hits the side netting. It's just that Szczesny cut out the angle, but Mbappe's hard shot was destined for a big challenge to the goalkeeper. Puts his hands to it, sends the ball out. Scoreline is still 0-0. Brzezinski is crossing onto the right side. A hard shot that is parried off by goalkeeper Iloris. And then Kaminski shoots again. Varane saves it from the line. And the Le Bleu have survived one big scare in this 38th minute of the game. Two shots. One saved by the goalkeeper and the other saved by the defender. And now Le Bleu realize that things are not going as they would like to. And Giroud gets the ball from Kylian Mbappe. A clever shot on the left foot. Makes it look like he was going to cut it back for a 45. Also makes it look like he was going to return the ball to Kylian Mbappe. But sneaks it on the left foot. He's onside. Lovely sneak in and then chips it past the goalkeeper. Very acute way to do it. But he opens the scoreline for the French side. It's France 1 and Poland 0. And Olivier Giroud is on his way to becoming the highest goal scorer of the French side in the history of the game. What a celebration from two great men who've gotten the goals for the French side, and of course for the coach as well. Well, on resumption, the Polish side realizing they're going to be losing this one, hitting the side's netting. At a time when they could have pulled one back. Here is a left foot curve then coming from Griezmann. Chesney saves it. Theo Hernandez shoots but fails to make goal. Just a cutback, that pushback, but a hard shot as well from Griezmann. Well, the French side is in control of the game. Here is Kylian Mbappe again, and is realizing that he hasn't toyed with the opposition at all. Gets a little deflection off that one from a shot that goes off the field of play at a time when Mbappe is looking for a goal. Kachowiak is the man who blocks it for a corner. And this would start a hard push by the French side to be able to try and get the goals and to be able to wrap this one up. The score is still 1-0. The Blue have the ball. It's out on